The All-Star Game has long been one of NBA fans' favorite events of the year, as it gives us a chance to see how some of our favorite players would do if they ever teamed up. And even though it's just an exhibition game played for fun and entertainment, there are still players who take it very seriously. And in honor of Stephen Curry dropping 50 points in the 2022 All-Star Game, including a record 16 three-pointers, today we'll take a look at the best All-Star Game performances in NBA history. But first, a reminder about our brand new giveaway. We're giving away a PS5 with a copy of NBA 2K22 and Madden 22. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple. First up, we have LeBron James. The King has many records when it comes to All-Star Game history. LeBron has the most starts in All-Star Game history with 18 consecutive selections, the most total points with 389, and a flawless 5-0 record as team captain since the league adopted the All-Star Draft. James is also one of only 4 players with a triple-double in All-Star Game history. In the 2011 All-Star Game, LeBron finished with a stat line of 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists, on 10 for 18 shooting from the field and 9 for 10 from the free throw line. This was LeBron's first All-Star Game since joining the Miami Heat, and as the league's biggest villain, James was out to prove that even though you might have not liked him, you definitely had to respect him. LeBron starred alongside his Heat teammates, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, who combined for 28 points on a very efficient 13 for 19 shooting from the field, proving why Miami had become the new team to beat in the NBA. Unfortunately for them and for LeBron, the East fell short to the West team, losing 148-143. The West was led by a 34-point effort from Kevin Durant and by the eventual 2011 All-Star Game MVP, who had another all-time great performance in All-Star history. Next is Kobe Bryant. For every villain, there's always a superhero willing to save the world. At that time, the league's superhero was the late great Kobe Bryant, and despite having dominated the NBA for well over a decade by this point, the Mamba was still at the peak of his career. In the 2011 All-Star Game, Kobe put up a ridiculous stat line of 37 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals on 14 for 26 shooting from the field and 7 for 8 from the free throw line. The most interesting part about his numbers that night was Bryant grabbed 10 offensive rebounds, setting an All-Star Game record. Not Wilt, not Kareem, not Bill Russell, but Kobe Bean Bryant has the most offensive rebounds in an All-Star Game ever. Who would have thought? This game also gave Kobe another record, his 4th and last All-Star Game MVP. His 2011 MVP moved him from a second-place tie with Michael Jordan into a first-place tie with Bob Pettit. And with all due respect to the Hawks legend, who won his 4 All-Star Game MVPs in the late 50s and early 60s, Kobe did it in an era where competition for the award was much rougher. Nobody knew how to put a show quite like the Mamba, and even though some of Kobe's other All-Star Games could also make this list, this was certainly his best performance. Now we have Giannis Antetokounmpo. While the Greek Freak isn't any stranger to putting up monster stat lines, Giannis Antetokounmpo went absolutely ballistic in the 2021 All-Star Game. Fresh off back-to-back league MVP awards and as the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, the Milwaukee Bucks superstar added the All-Star Game MVP award to his trophy case. Antetokounmpo recorded 35 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists without missing a single shot. He went a perfect 16 for 16 from the field, including 3 for 3 from behind the three-point arc, and became the only player in All-Star Game history to score more than 30 points on perfect shooting splits. And it's not like he played it safe, as even though three-pointers are not necessarily a strength of his, he still made all 3 of his long-range attempts to lead Team LeBron for a 20-point blowout victory over Team Durant. And as if the flawless stat line wasn't crazy enough by itself, Antetokounmpo amassed it in just 19 minutes of playing time. There really is nothing that the Greek Freak can't do. Next on our list is Magic Johnson. When it comes to stunning All-Star Game performances, perhaps there isn't any performance more stunning than Earvin Magic Johnson's showing in the 1992 All-Star Game. Just months after announcing his retirement from basketball before the start of the 1991-92 season as a result of an HIV diagnosis, Johnson was still voted in as a starter by fans to the 1992 All-Star Game. And despite several fellow players complaining complaining about the health-related risks of Magic playing, the legendary Lakers point guard still came out of retirement for one game and lit up the competition. Johnson finished the game with 25 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds, shooting 9 for 12 from the field and 3 for 3 from three-point land. Johnson led all scorers and claimed his second All-Star Game MVP against all odds. Who would have expected a retired player to dominate the game? Magic also led the West to the biggest victory in All-Star Game history, beating the East by a whopping 40 points with a final score of 153-113. With the game coming to a close, Johnson hit a three-pointer with 14.5 seconds left on the clock, prompting players from both teams to storm the court and show their appreciation towards Magic, ending the game early. "It was the first game ever called on account of hugs," Johnson said jokingly about the game's ending. "Don't go anywhere because we're yet to see the most improbable All-Star Game MVP and the greatest performance in All-Star Game history." Next up, Anthony Davis. Not too long ago, Anthony Davis was the best big man in the NBA by a huge margin. But hurt by his glass-like body that gets injured every single year, Davis' stock has severely fallen since his days as a New Orleans Pelican. But back then, AD was so good that he actually set the record for most points scored in the All-Star Game. In the 2017 edition of the contest, Davis put up an absurd stat line of 52 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 steals, while shooting 26 for 39 from the field. If you did the math, you'd notice David scored all 52 of his points without hitting a single three or free throw, which is quite impressive. In 2017, AD set the record for both most points scored in an All-Star Game and most points scored in a half with 30. He also had the most field goals in an All-Star Game as well as the most in a quarter with 10. And Davis also used to have the record for most points in a quarter with 20, but it was just crushed by Stephen Curry in this year's game, as he scored 21. Luckily for him, Curry still finished the game by 2 points shy of AD's record, which came in the highest scoring All-Star Game ever, where Davis led the West to a 192-182 victory. Hopefully, AD can one day return to being as good as he used to be, because it was amazing watching him dominate. Michael Jordan. You didn't think we'd make a top All-Star performances list and not include the GOAT, right? Especially when his airness might have the best All-Star Game performance ever. The 1988 All-Star Weekend festivities treated Michael Jordan quite well. On Saturday night, MJ edged out Dominique Wilkins to win the Slam Dunk Contest, an edition that is considered one of, if not the best, dunk contest ever. The following night in the All-Star Game, Jordan posted a stat line of 40 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, and 4 blocks on a super efficient 17 for 23 shooting effort to go along with 6 free throws. Jordan was everywhere in this game, and he was a key part of the East being able to hold off an incredibly balanced scoring effort by the West team. Only 3 other teammates scored in double figures for the East team, but much like he was used to doing with the Chicago Bulls, he put the team on his back and carried them to victory. MJ scored 16 of his 40 points in the final 6 minutes of the game to lead the East to a 138-133 victory. Jordan would also capture the first of 3 All-Star Game MVP trophies in his career, having just put on arguably the best performance in All-Star Game history. What did you think about our list? Which player had the best All-Star Game performance ever? Make sure to let us know in the comments section down below, and we'll see you in the next one.